Today, the employment Numberwang continues. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics, one latest post covering finance and property news. Well, the unemployment rate rose by 0.1 percentage points to 3.9% in November, that's seasonally adjusted, up from a revised 3.8% in October, according to the latest data from the ABS. The ABS said, with employment increasing by 61,000 people and the number of unemployed people rising by 19,000, the unemployment rate rose to 3.9%. The combination of strong growth in both employment and unemployment in November saw the employment to population ratio return to a record high of 64.6%, and the participation rate reached a new high of 67.2%. We've continued to see employment growth keeping pace with high population growth through 2023. The employment to population ratio has been high for a long time now, between 64.4% and 64.6% since February 2023, and between 63.3% and 64.6% for the past 18 months. Similarly, participation continues to be high. In addition to strong employment growth over the past year, the number of unemployed people has also increased by around 81,000 people, and the unemployment rate has risen by 0.4 percentage points. However, both unemployment measures remain well below their pre-pandemic levels, the ABS said. Now, at this point, just note that from September 2023, the ABS sample frame has been updated with information from the 2021 census, with sample selection from the new sample being phased in over 8 months from September 2023 to April 2024. And specifically, the ABS has revised the original labour force series from July 2016 to reflect the latest estimated resident population, the ERP, based on the 21 census file. That's the final rebased ERP. So the usual resident civilian population in October 2023 was revised up by around 0.2% or around 37,200 people. To add to the data tweaks, the incoming November sample had a higher unemployment rate and higher participation, which may also help to explain some of the slightly weird movements this month. And this also helps to explain why, while employment growth continued into November 2023, rising by 0.4%, monthly hours worked rose by less than 0.1%. The recent slowdown in hours worked over the past 6 months continued in November, with the total number of hours worked now around where it's been back in May. However, this follows very strong growth during late 2022 and early 2023, the ABS said. The slowing in hours means that overall growth rates in employment and hours worked are now similar over the past 18 months. The narrowing gap between these two growth rates suggests that the labour market is now less tight than it has been. And the slowdown in hours worked also coincided with a further increase in the underemployment rate, which rose 0.2 percentage points to 6.5% in November. And while this is 0.7% higher than November 2022, it's still around 2.2 percentage points lower than before the pandemic. The underutilization rate, which combines the unemployment rate and the underemployment rate, rose 0.3 percentage points to 10.4%, and that was 1.1 percentage points higher than last November, but 3.6 percentage points lower than March 2020. And across the states, the unemployment rate varied, with the Northern Territory at 4.6%, Queensland at 4.4%, Victoria at 4%, South Australia at 3.9%, Western Australia at 3.7%, Tasmania and the ACT at 3.6%, and New South Wales at 3.4%, all in seasonally adjusted terms. And by the way, in November, the trend unemployment rate remained at 3.8%. Employment grew by around 36,000 people at 0.2%, and hours worked fell 0.1% in November in trend terms. The employment to population ratio remained at 64.6%, and the participation rate remained at 67.1%. The underemployment rate remained at 6.4%, and the underutilization rate remained at 10.2%. And in trend terms, many of the key indicators still point to a tight labour market, the ABS said. However, the increasing unemployment rate since November 2022, along with the rising unemployment rate and slowdown in hours growth, may suggest that the labour market is starting to slow. And just to underscore again, they said that the underemployment rate remained at 3.8%, with employment up by 36,000 people or 0.2%. And if that sounds familiar, That, of course, is completely aligned with the adjustment that they made because of the census. So standing back, this month's labour rise in unemployment was mostly driven by a 0.2% rise in the labour force participation rate to a record high, with jobs growth actually strong at 61,500 for the month and impacted by the baselining I discussed above. But the number of hours worked were flat over the month and have grown by far less than jobs growth over the year, 1.6% versus 3.2%, which suggests that the underlying labour market is indeed softer than implied by the jobs growth. And of course, the biggest impact on the unemployment rate is actually the record growth in Australia's labour supply via the Albanese government's mass immigration policy. We still need around 35,000 new jobs added each month just to stand still. So if you strip out the Numberwanging, the job story is much less positive than spun by Chalmers today, and frankly, these numbers are relatively meaningless. Now, if you're buying your home in Sydney's contentious market, you don't need to stand alone. This is the time you need to have Edwin Almeida from Ribbon Property Consultants standing alongside you. Buying a property is both challenging and adversarial. The vendor has a professional on their side. Emotions run high, price discovery and price transparency are hard to find, and then there's the wasted time and financial investments that you make. Edwin understands your needs, so why not engage a licensed professional to stand alongside you? With RPC, you know you have experience, knowledge, and master negotiators looking after your best interests. So shoot Ribbon an email at info@ribbonproperty.com.au, and if you use the promo code DFAWTW/Martin, you can get a 10% discount offer. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.